Ladies and gentlemen, we'll now move on to a speaker from TAQA Arabia, Khaled Abubakr, who's executive chairman. We're just waiting for him to come online now. Khaled's presentation is going to be about the renaissance for gas in Europe and the East Med. Just wait for him to join us. Khaled, how are you?
Fine, thank you. Great day.
Alhamdulillah.
Are you live yet?
I'm sorry? We are indeed live. Yes, we're just waiting for you to be ready for your presentation.
I'm ready. Good afternoon. I think it was an exciting day, and we've seen Patrick's presentation and Arshad and two veterans of the region. And we're quite excited about seeing their view about how the Mediterranean and Egypt is well placed to bring lots of balance for the European market. So I don't want to be repetitive, but I quickly go. I think you've seen some of these fields. I take from the end that great developments of the region, the offshore discoveries in the Mediterranean have led to the importance of developing a regional hub that is politically well connected, economically viable, and
Sorry to interrupt, but I can see also your notes on the PPT. So could you please put the PPT on the presentation mode?
Yeah, can you see it better like this?
Okay, from there. Thank you so much. I'm sorry.
Thank you for the comment. So having said this, we are looking to the existing infrastructure that connecting different pipeline between Egypt, Jordan, potentially Syria, Israel, that lead that there is a huge viability for further pipelines. As you can see, the one in purple is to have an offshore pipeline between Aphrodite and further expansion in Leviathan. All these to be connected to the two LNG existing plants in Egypt, the one in Edco and Damietta. Why this is very important? Because if we take a look on for the year 2026, the total production in that part of the Mediterranean can reach 130 billion cubic meters a year, with a positive estimation of all the demand in the area of the East Mediterranean. There will be a surplus of around 29 to 30 billion cubic meters per year that need to be dispatched to the global market. And I should not hide my intention to say that maybe with all the ongoing progress on the East Mediterranean, that we'll see that Egypt can build a third LNG plant in the Red Sea. Because as my colleague on the previous presentation shared, the demands are getting down in the European market, but still demand are much growing in India, South Korea, and Japan. So the potential is there. But this was just to share with you the potential of the East Mediterranean, and Egypt is excellently well located as a hub for that region. Having said so, I would like to share with you the different ongoing progress in the last 2 years that are enhancing and cementing Egypt's position as the heart of this energy hub. Looking quickly on so Egypt is not only as an infrastructure hub, but Egypt is part of the supply of this hub, is the main anchor of supplying and securing the resource in this hub. In the last 2 years, 22 signed agreement with different IOCs with a potential minimum investment of $1.6 billion that will include drilling 74 wells, 62 new discoveries in the last few years. Out of them, 47 are crude oil and 15 are natural gas. And the Ministry of Petroleum keep going on boosting the country economic assets and production. You can see the well brought online in the last year, 11 natural gas fields and 190 crude oil total fields that have been brought in line. Added production in 2019 was 1.8. In 2020, there was supposed to be an additional 1.2, but due to the COVID-19 and the unnecessity of having such surplus and the reduce of the consumption in the local market by 10% due to the COVID restriction, so the additional 1.2 billion cubic feet per day has not been added in 2020, but they are there and they are ready to be produced whenever the market pick up again. Looking to the refining projects, the new refining projects, the last year 2020, one of the major success stories of Africa, not only Egypt, was the ERC refinery that produced 4.7 million tons per year. It was a huge investment of $4.3 billion, and it was inaugurated by the president of Egypt in November. A fantastic state-of-the-art project. There was the integration of high-octane benzene project at NRPC, which produced 0.7 million tons per year, in addition to several other projects that including wax oil and oil derivative. So the total operation of high-octane benzene production as well has been increased in local market, a production of 800,000 tons per year with an additional investment of 450 million. So we can see there is lots of ongoing activity in infrastructure and investment on the energy sector of Egypt. Add to that the petrochemical projects. There's a potential of 7.9 billion that start to be implemented, mainly that are new refineries and petrochemical complex at the Suez Canal, which is on the east side of the country near the Red Sea. 4 million ton per year refining capacity and new production capacity, petrochemical 2.7 million ton per year, and that have an investment of $7.5 billion per year. What about the downstream sector and utilization of natural gas, which is really more our topic today? On the downstream development, national gas grid projects, we can see in newly operated pipeline, 6 pipeline in 2019 and 5 pipeline in 2020. The added length for the gas grid, which is extremely essential as the backbone of the gas supply in Egypt to the customer. 290 kilometers has been added in 2019, and only 76 have been added in 2020 due to the COVID-19 restriction. Investment of more than 7 billion Egyptian pound, which is almost $500 million have been invested in this pipeline in the last 2 years. On the utilization and the downstream and utilization for the gas, in 2019, 1.2 million new family have been connected to natural gas. Clean energy that are avoiding them the LPG and other components. In 2020, despite the COVID-19, 1 million new customers have been connected. So Egypt is operating 11.7 million houses are now totally connected to the gas. Same for the commercial units. We have had more than 3,500 commercial units in the last 2 years, and the factory, more than 100 factories have been connected. Some of them are new factories, and some of them are factories that use to consume fuel oil and gas oil. The CNG development, and that's the most important recent development, because Egypt has adopted a very aggressive strategy. The president of Egypt, His Excellency President Fattah Sisi, is on top of that, changing the vehicle to clean energy. So we are a little on competition between electrical vehicle and vehicle using natural gas. So in 2019, 135 stations has been added, and in 2020, 115 station has been added. The gas converted, the car using natural gas, we are going from 335,000 car to 400,000 car in 2023. Just to mention that early January, there was a major event, a Go Green exhibition, that under the auspices of the president, where he inaugurated that exhibition and increased the milestones to be achieved and the KPIs for the converting of the car and the number of stations that are fueling CNG. A quick look to who is using gas in Egypt. As you can see, 60% of the gas is consumed for the power generation. And the power generation in Egypt, and I'm proud to say this, that 90% of the power generated in Egypt is generated by natural gas, compared to around 24 to 25% around the globe. Egypt is a role model on utilization of gas. The industry is depending on gas, is the second largest consumer. The residential clients are using around 5%, and the automotive fuel are using 1%. As you can see that quick highlights on the CNG utilization, which is the boom for the last 6 months and the boom for the coming 18 months in Egypt, a huge expansion. For example, you can see on the right here, the expansion plan only for a company like TAQA is 60 stations to be added in 2021, 120 CNG stations in 2022, and 200 stations by 2023. The other success story is using the mobile CNG. Wherever there is no gas grid connected in remote areas, so like the new valley governorate in Egypt, or area that away on the desert, either they're industrial, they're commercial, or residential, we have enlarged utilization of the mobile CNG, which is we call the virtual pipeline, bringing the gas through the by trucks to these consuming customers in the remote area. Last but not least is that we've developed as well expanding 25 mobile refueling stations to cover most of the new highways and roads around Egypt that are bringing the goods to export to the port from different parts of the country to the exporting port. So some of these roads do not have pipeline, and the trucks that are using natural gas, they normally, till last year, they wouldn't find station. So by adding 50 logistical stations for the trucks, 25 of them are permanent and 25 are mobile stations like the one we can see on the slide. And here you can see the president, His Excellency President Sisi in the Go Green exhibition, visiting the booth and really spending time, and coming after that exhibition, having a meeting with the cabinet, the Egyptian cabinet, and giving them more incentives and more KPIs and challenges to achieve to really expand the utilization of natural gas. Having said so, I'm open for you for any questions, and it's my pleasure to share with you quickly our point of view about the East Mediterranean and the Egyptian market.
Thank you, Mr. Abubakr. Very interesting presentation. Really, it sounds like the opportunities for gas utilization in Egypt absolutely enormous. Given the increasing residential connectivity and growing utilization of CNG and EV cars, presumably demand is only expected to rise exponentially. Perhaps you could maybe add some more thoughts on that.
Yeah, absolutely. In Egypt, we with the Zohr discovery that brought balance to some shortage on the early 2011, 2012, the Zohr discovery had brought a lot of balance and, if I may say, self-sufficiency to the local market. In addition of being hub, having the security of supply available, that's what encouraging the Egyptian government and the private sector as well, a company like ours, TAQA, to expand the investment on gas utilization. As you've seen, the CNG business so far is only consuming 1% of the total production in Egypt, but we expect in the coming 2 to 3 years that will double, the volumes will double. But is this double of size and volume will be out of the capacity of the Egyptian production? Absolutely not, because Egypt can produce 72 billion cubic meters per year. Nowadays, they're only producing 62 billion cubic meters per year. So the gauge is there to increase 1 or 2 BCM whenever needed for such a local market. But the beauty of that is you're not just bringing a new energy demand and that's it. It's the opposite. You are replacing fossil fuel like the diesel that is used on the trucks and the cars and the public transportation to use a better, cleaner energy like the gas. So, and it's much cheaper, more reliable, more efficient, and sustainable. So it goes not only part within Egypt maximizing the utilization of gas, but bringing there is the environmental aspect, the environmental benefit on the public health. There is the social benefit of bringing new job opportunity in modern gas industry as well.
And presumably it also alleviates any requirement to import petroleum products.
Absolutely. It will reduce if you would just succeed to convert the Egyptian heavy truck fleet, if you succeed to convert 15% of that fleet to natural gas, the government can save $1.5 to $2 billion per year of foreign currency that were used to import more diesel.
Amazing. Such a great opportunity for the country. We've just had a question from Spiros Bellas, who's asking how much of the gas do you think could be provided to the East Med pipeline if it happens? Or is it all going to be used within domestically and potentially to go to LNG facilities?
The existing East Med pipeline is working, so it's not going to happen. It's there.
No, I'm sorry. I was referring to the potential pipeline hookup to mainland Europe.
Yes, that pipeline that's supposed to cost something above the 6 to 7 billion euro. Personally, and to be frank with you and the audience here, I will have my doubt about such pipe going to Europe. In such economical, very sensitive economy in Europe, and Europe that have a very clear energy strategy of zero carbon by 2050, and first phase of that program will be achieved in 2030. So as we've seen, my colleagues in Dana and from Arshad Soufi Mitas, the demand is getting is lower and lower in Europe. So that's not the right market to go. The right market to go for the coming 10 years will be India, China, and Korea, and Japan. And if you want to go to this market, you don't build a pipeline to Europe. So definitely LNG is the game. And that's why Egypt is the excellent place as a hub, because it has two existing LNG on the Mediterranean, and whenever needed, they can develop a third LNG on the Red Sea. So that's why I personally, with all my due respect, of course, the East Mediterranean pipeline that was subject to go to Europe, from a technical point of view, it's a beauty. But from a macroeconomical point of view and geopolitical point of view, I would have some doubts about the economical viability of it.
Of course. You touched on the point, you touched on the idea of locating a third LNG facility in the Red Sea. Presumably this, in your opinion, this would be perhaps built somewhere like Ain Sokhna or somewhere around an industrial hub. Do you have any thoughts on that?
No, there is no specific plan, but sometimes when you do the long-term plan and strategy, you have to be dream and you have to be ready for the game changer. I'll tell you, Egypt were getting committed and were signing the three FSRU when we discovered Zohr. So overnight, instead of using this FSRU to import gas, Zohr was self-sufficient. Now we are keeping only one FSRU in Ain Sokhna. It's a backup as a storage in case of failure of any of the field. But I cannot say right now that there is a specific plan of where the third LNG will be. Is it Ain Sokhna or is it Safaga or further south? But the macroeconomic picture, if Egypt is more successful as well in other ongoing exploration and production activity in the Mediterranean, or any other neighboring country, Cyprus, Lebanon, and other, have more new discoveries. And if you need to monetize this discovery to the Asian market, then there will be the proper detailed study and needs to put in place a station in the Red Sea.
Avoiding having to transfer through the Suez Canal. You touched. I'm sorry.
It will reduce the cost of crossing the Suez Canal, and you are getting advantage of the existing national gas grid in Egypt, which is quite strong to transport more volume within that grid. So this is the advantage.
Excellent. You touched on the point of virtual pipelines. I just wanted to kind of dig a little bit deeper on that in terms of, obviously has its issues in terms of transportation, but how great a benefit do you see of these virtual pipelines, creating hubs, as you mentioned, in rural desert areas. How big is the upside of that for a company like TAQA?
The upside is fantastic because, for example, the governorate of Wadi Jadid, which is on the southwest of Egypt, it occupies 42% of the land in Egypt. It's quite a developing area, a governorate that depend on mega agricultural products that most of them are exported to other places in the world. But they couldn't get the right energy. They are dispatched agriculture centers. You have medium to small size investors that are doing agriculture. You have several factories that depend on this agriculture. And they are lacking energy. And the only source of energy, of course, some of them would use renewable energy, but sometimes you need for heavy equipment. They will use fuel oil, which again had to be brought from the valley, from the nearest city on the Nile with transportation. And then it doesn't give you the same efficiency and the negative environmental impact of using such fuel oil. So bringing natural gas to such place is fantastic because even such a governorate is trying to be a green governorate and green city. But then again, the mobile CNG and the different technology that are happening on the gas industry in the last decade allowed us to present what we are presenting. So now we are going to bring the mobile CNG to the capital of this governorate. We will connect 14,000 family of that capital, which is called El Kharga. That's the name of the capital. 14,000 residential customers will be connected by a normal gas grid, but this gas grid will be supplied by the mobile CNG and not by pipeline. Same will go for all the power station, the large and medium size. They will be converted from diesel to natural gas. So again, it's a tremendous winning points for the customer, for company like TAQA, and for the government budget on reducing the amount of diesel that's consumed.
And in terms of those virtual pipelines, do you see there being scope to expand those further south to southern neighbors of Egypt, or is that perhaps a little bit too outside the zone?
No, that's we are working and we are studying actually this exercise. Our southern neighbors are part of our same economical zone. If you look to countries like Sudan and potentially in the future in Libya, inshallah, and things getting more stable. And already there is lots of trading on other commodity between Egypt and Libya. But when the economy will pick up more and the industry and the trading, then a model like the mobile CNG would be the fantastic answer to the energy challenge of this country, of neighboring and friendly countries like Libya and Sudan.
And you don't see any impact on the availability for gas for expansion, for export through these virtual pipelines. You don't think it's going to be competing?
No, absolutely not. Because again, as I said at the beginning, that's what I want to show, that there is a surplus in the region. Egypt is becoming the hub. So most of this additional gas available in Israel or in Cyprus or potentially in Lebanon will go through Egypt. So that will answer the first challenge, which is the security of supply. So there will be enough available gas crossing Egypt. And if you need to expand it to any business, then with the new gas law in Egypt that start to liberalize the gas market, it's not yet liberalized, but it's on its way to get liberalized. That will allow to private sector and investor and entrepreneur to buy from this gas crossing the Egyptian land and using that gas, using the existing infrastructure, maybe adding a couple of tens of millions of investment and doing like small scale LNG or mobile CNG to neighboring countries.
Excellent. And one final question before I let you go. Given your international experience, what is it about Egypt that makes it an attractive country for foreign firms to invest in?
I'm talking to you next to the Nile, and we have a proverb that we used to say in Egypt: whoever drink from the Nile, he fell in love with it and come back and back. But to pragmatically answer your question, stability is very, very important. Economical stability and political stability. And I think that what was brought to the table in Egypt in the last 6 years is that reform with the IMF program a very difficult and hard reform, but the government took the charge, the private sector, the people, everybody participated and endured to cross this critical time. And these reforms are paying back. This is the first element. The second element is a clear strategy. When you have a clear strategy by the government and declared and communicated through the different ministry, either the Ministry of Petroleum, Ministry of Electricity, the Ministry of International Cooperation, all these ministries are communicating the strategy implemented by the Egyptian government, then you would have the guts, the financial growth, the international finance institution will have the guts and the courage to invest in the local market. Besides, when they see companies like TAQA and other, which are local Egyptian investors, expanding their investment portfolio, this is a major encouraging element as well. But stability and strategy and vision are the most two important elements that I can see.
And it sounds like a unified approach from the top also helps.
Yeah, absolutely.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Abubakr. I hope you have a pleasant evening, and thank you for sharing your time with us.
Thank you very much.
Shukran.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'll move on with our next presentation, which is from Dr. Florence A. Ogden, who's the CEO and Chief Economist at Arabia Monitor.